Hey, everybody. Welcome to Pit Stops to Podium, the RevPartners podcast, where we talk to execs who have competed and won, taking their companies from high growth to high scale. Well, my name is Brendan Tollison. I am the co-founder and CEO of RevPartners, and I am thrilled to have with me today my good friend, Ryan Yackel. Welcome, Ryan.
Hey, man, how's it going? We're good friends? Is that what you're saying? Are we like
I think we're
best friends? I thought we were best friends.
Besties.
Okay.
My bad. Well, Ryan, so he currently serves as a VP of product marketing at a company called KeyFactor, who is the leader in PKI as a service in crypto agility solutions. Ryan, I have no idea what I just said. So how about you enlighten our audience as to what that means and who KeyFactor is?
I can. Yeah. Well, thank you for that lovely introduction. So KeyFactor, as we said, we're the leader of PKI as a service and crypto agility solutions. And what that means is at a high level is PKI stands for public key infrastructure. You may be thinking, wow, that's also a mouthful. It's like, yeah, it is. But if you think about it, public key infrastructure is something that's been around for actually a really long time. And what it is it's a set of controls and infrastructure and software that basically helps you manage things called digital certificates. And so I know everyone here probably has gone to Amazon.com the last hour maybe. And in the top left corner, you'll see a little thing that says, hey, this site is secure or not, the HTTPS part, right? Well, the reason why Amazon can say that is because they have this thing called a public digital certificate or SSL TLS certificate, right? That tells you and me that this is trustworthy, right? Well, what's interesting is that companies have public certificates that are out there, and there's also internal certificates that are out there. So if you think about things that are on your laptop or things that are on like an IoT device or a virtual machine, all of these different things out there, all these different machines that are out there, they have identities that are associated with them. So if I can talk to your machine, you can talk to my machine, we can talk to a database, whatever that is. They're all controlled through digital certificates and digital keys, and what we call is cryptography, right? And so what we do is we provide the ability for people to outsource their PKI as a service to KeyFactor, so we can host all that infrastructure for you, and also help you manage all those digital certificates and keys at scale across your enterprise. And so we work with the global 2,000 companies that are out there. And we help them secure all those machines and identities that they have inside their organization so that they're not vulnerable to a breach or an outage that could happen. And an example of that is that usually anytime you have a service that goes down, let's say a website goes down, or Spotify recently had this happen, Google had this happen. But usually what happens is it's due to an expired certificate. So we help you manage all those certificates, all those keys to make sure you don't experience a very costly outage or breach or any downtime associated with that. So hopefully that kind of clears it up.
Definitely helps. And it's a great example as to why I view you as one of the best product marketers I know, which you probably don't love hearing me brag on you, but I will.
I hate hearing people brag about
because
it.
I think what
something I like.
Well, I think what you have done is you've mastered kind of that art of storytelling that's traditionally applied to that marketing silo, and been able to apply it into a product lens that's typically very dry. And so it's a pretty nice marriage that you've been able to create.
B2B enterprise sales can be very dry. It can be at times.
Yes, especially when you're doing testing like we used to do.
Right.
Well, Ryan, let's before we get into our big idea for today, one of the traditions we have at this podcast is to get to know our guest beyond work. So what are 3 fun facts that our audience should know about you as a person?
All right. So first one is I love Superman. I've been a diehard Superman fan all my life. I can remember back when I was in 6th grade, turning on Smallville, one of the best, worst shows ever to be created that's out there. I remember I got a really awesome, very gaudy, silver embezzled Superman chain. I used to wear it around in middle school. I thought it was really cool. I've got 2 little girls that may interrupt us or may not. I've told them not to come in here. We'll see about that. And the last one is, what was the last one that I had mentioned? I can't remember.
You share a birthday with somebody pretty.
Oh, that's right. Harry Potter. Yeah, I share a birthday with Harry Potter, which is July.
What day is that again? I should know this as your best friend, but I apologize.
I know you've missed it a couple times, but it's okay. We'll make it up.
All right, well, let's transition to the big idea, which I love, and it's counterintuitive with your title. But the big idea today, Ryan, is nobody cares about your product. So
That's right.
Help me understand what that means, given what you do and where you're selling to. So how would you define that? And then we'll get into some of those concrete points, but just at a high level, what do you mean by that statement?
Yeah. So what I mean by that is, and yeah, you're right. My title is product marketing. So you think that, what all I do is I just talk about our products, every day. The reality is product marketing basically equals the marketing activities associated with bringing a product to the market, which is different than talking about your product. So we talk about our product on our website and in collateral and things like that. But if that's all I did every day, I'd be a very bad product marketer. And when it comes to, say again?
Yeah, so I think that's a good starting point. Let's get more like in practical application to what you're just describing. So let's look at it through the lens of like from a go-to-market standpoint, as you think about how you're interacting. So you as product marketing, you're interacting with sales, you're interacting with marketing, interacting with product. And there's that kind of continuous feedback loop that you're able to create. As it relates to let's talk about sales to start out with. And, and it relates to the, from a go-to-market motion, but ultimately into those engagements with clients. I think the temptation is feature functionality.
Right.
And what you're describing is that's not what you should be pitching. That's not what customers care about.
Right. That's something you can get to, but it's not something you want to lead with. Like nobody cares that your product does, X widget thing or can report on this or can report on that. Right. What they care about is that your product can prevent something from happening in terms of preventing risk that's in your organization. It helps you solve any type of cost reduction if you're trying to reduce costs, reduce spend. And also they want to know about how can your product accelerate what they're doing in the marketplace. Those are like the three things you think about. It's like cost, speed, and risk. Those are usually the areas that I always frame every product release and every thing that we do also align back to the different personas that we have that care about those things. And so anytime that we do a product release or we're thinking about like, what do we want to get across in our messaging? The thing we think about is like, okay, what is the thing that you do? That's number one. Or what is it the thing that we're going to be releasing, whatever it is, right? The next thing is like why it matters or okay, so what? We do X thing. Okay, well, why does it matter for you, Mr. Customer, Mr. Persona? Okay. And then what's the value out of why it cares? And then after that, all the features and functionalities help you get to the state of, okay, I really want that. Or I see value in that. But if you can't show business value to them immediately and very, very quickly, all you become is just another widget that's out there that has, you have this user access control and you have global fields and you have this nice pie chart and you have whatever. That nobody cares about that. They care more about what's the business value that you have. And then outside of that, then you get into the product. Yeah. And a big thing that I'll just say too is that when we redid a lot of our messaging this past year, that was a big problem that we had in our organization, which was we want to talk about PKI as a service immediately. Like, you have your PKI on-prem. Well, isn't it great? Just move it to us. And you can do all this. Yeah, but the problem was we didn't set the tone in terms of what's the problems that you're having in your organization. What's the context that makes you even care about this thing? Right? What are the business issues that you're running into that make it worthy for you to even think about changing your solution? What's the value out of changing to your solution? And then painting this idea that here's where you currently are in this old state, and then here's where you get to in the new bliss. And we did what we did recently in our sales kickoff was I presented this thing called the customer journey, which really gets back into the hero journey. So if you think about what a hero journey is, it's Donald Miller does a great job at this. He does. I don't know if you've heard, Donald Miller, right? Mm-hmm. He does. He's got a company called StoryBrand, right? Yeah, and this has done a lot of. It's been around for a while, but essentially, getting back to nobody cares about your product. It's also nobody cares about your company either. They care about you, they care that you care about them. And so when a lot of times when people come in, They want to talk about how great their company is, all, the great logo slide, and here's our trajectory or whatever. They want to build all this credibility and all these things, right? Which is fine. But if they're already talking to you, then they already probably did a lot of the research on why they think you're credible, right? But if all you do is then talk about your products, and all you do is talk about the how cool the company is, how they can like, save you or whatever, that's the wrong way to think about it. You always want to think about it in terms of like, you are the guide in the customer journey, in the hero's journey. The customer is the hero, right? You are the guide that helps them win whatever problem they're doing, so that the light shines on the customer, not KeyFactor. It shines on, whoever the company name is, and helps them achieve this new bliss in their organization, so that it's not KeyFactor doing it for them. We're always looked at as a helper. Yeah,
it's a paradigm shift for sure, and putting the spotlight on the customer, not on the company. So don't start with you, start with them, and how you can partner alongside them from to your point, value creation. Hey, current state, future state. Here's how we help you get there as the guide. Let's transition to, we talked about from a sales perspective. Let's move into I'm going to do marketing and then we'll do product. And
sure.
Within like a marketing lens, let's talk about it from a content perspective. So how does product marketing inform content creation?
Yeah, and I would say it informs the entire lead generation team, where content is a part of that. So, yep. If you were just to go and look at my name or my colleague Ryan Sanders, our name, and how it's attached to, you'll notice we're attached to almost everything that is going on content related. Whether it's the website, whether it's a press release, it's a webinar, it's a video, it's a white paper, an ebook, it's SEO that we're doing, all that stuff. We do that together as a team to build content. But here's the deal: demand gen uses all of that, right, so that they can be successful in driving demand. And so we don't go and do that in a silo. Like if we're going to go do that in a silo and not talk to the demand gen team, the demand gen arm, we work together in that, right? But the reality is that the demand gen team cannot do what they want to do effectively without product marketing. Product marketing is basically the headlights to a car. If you think about a car, you're driving a car, and if that's the demand gen team, they need to know where to go. They need to know, like, should I take this alley? Should I take this back road? Should I get on the highway? Should we stop? Should we slow down? Should we, change out the tires? Whatever it is, right? Well, all what product marketing does is shine light into where you actually need to go. And so that all comes down to building out the correct personas. If you don't have the correct personas and you're sending messages to the wrong persona, that's bad. If you're sending a bunch of ads and a bunch of content pieces to the wrong persona, that's bad. How do they know that? They talk to product marketing, because we know our customers and we know we should know what they want, what they want to consume, right? When you're sending out emails and you're like, why aren't people opening the email? Or why aren't they interacting with all the things I'm saying of why they should be even entertaining a reach out from KeyFactor? Well, they get all that from us. We give the messaging, the positioning, the value add, the value cards. They need to know to actually create those things. Without us, they can't do any of that, right? Now the business can't run without lead gen. So I'm not just saying, hey, look how awesome product marketing is. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is a lot of people start in the lead gen focused marketing area, right, and they just go, let's just start doing stuff. Let's do social, let's do this, let's do that, whatever, without having a framework to align to figure out what should we be saying, who should we be targeting? Is this messaging resonating? Do we have the right personas? Do we have the right ICP, right? All that comes from product marketing from the lead gen perspective. And so what we do is we try to scale we try to help the lead gen team and equip them with all the things they need to know so they can drive the car the correct way, right? And then we're also building content that's going to be unique and going to grab attention from people when they actually figure out who KeyFactor is. So there's kind of a double thing that goes on there with us interacting with the lead gen team and also the product marketing team together.
I appreciate you using the car analogy in light of our pit stops at Podium concept. So well played.
There you go. Dude, you know what? I didn't even think about that. Maybe I subliminally thought about that.
The way that I think about that, at least if I were to distill it down in my layman's terms, is that you're providing context to the content. And so you're giving clarity as to what you're creating and why. Let's move on to the last bullet, and that's really more on the product side. So we talked about sales in terms of value creation, not focusing on feature functionality. We just talked about marketing in terms of how it impacts and informs your demand gen strategy. And then let's lastly talk about product. And so, there's a kind of a great debate on like category creation or, improving the category that already exists. This is more of a kind of a tea. I'm serving you up with one here. So what's your thought or opinion on where products should be focused in light of the category?
Yeah. So I have strong opinions on this because I think currently right now, well, first of all, marketing is one of the worst disciplines out there, creating like new ideas like every 2 weeks. Like if you go on LinkedIn, you see like a new marketing tactic that's like the silver bullet to solve everything, right? I see that more out of that department than any other department out there. Product management, sales, even rev. I mean, it's crazy how many new things people are being told to think about and change. Okay.
It's like weight loss.
No, seriously. And you know what? I'm gullible enough to even fall into, It's funny. I was like, I'm trying to lose some weight and I was looking into like diets and things like that and like exercises. The reality is there's only so many ways you can do a push-up. There's only so many ways you can do ab workouts. There really is. Unless you get crazy and do it. And it's like, okay, what's the benefit of even doing it that way? But there really is. Like you go online, you find all these things out. Oh, the best way to do this, best way to do that. And you find out a lot of things are just regurgitated from 2 years ago. And it's nothing new. It's just time has elapsed to where people are just going to give you new ideas. So always be cautious of that. But the one thing that's a big thing right now is this idea of category creation, which is it came from this book mostly, and I'm sure it was before this, book called Play Bigger. And it's all about saying that, listen, the top companies in the world, they created a category and they own the category. And when you own the category, you own the narrative and that allows you to be untouchable, basically. And you will be the de facto person in that category. The problem with that, and there's actually people that April Dunford talks about this too. She's a great product marketing positioning person that's out there. She talks about how, yes, you can do that. However, if you want to create a new category from scratch, nobody's ever heard of, A, it's risky. And two, it's going to cost a lot of money and you're not going to see the payoff on that for at least a year and a half out, if it even works or not. So one thing I'll just caution people is like, it is risky to do and it's going to cost money. You're not going to see immediate payoffs. You got to get everyone on board with your company that you're going to do this, by the way. And in the short attention span we have these days, I don't know if a lot of C-suites are going to agree that they're going to be ready to do that, right? So that's one thing. The other thing, though, is that if you want to do that, that's great. Go for it. And if there's a lot of greenfield opportunity, do it. The second thing, though, is that if there's already an existing category, there's already an existing consensus of where you are, where you fit, I think it is completely irrational to say we're going to forget that category and not talk about it, whatever, but we're going to create our own category so that we can beat out all this other competition. The problem with that is that if your consumer or your customer knows all this language, okay, they understand this, and you say, well, we're just going to create this new category. What you're doing is you're not automatically speaking the language of the customer anymore. Right. And so you start to alienate people right away. So what I always suggest is you have to do an analysis if you're going to create a category or you're going to position better within an existing category. And so usually the way you find out, most of the time you find out if a category is created that you should be positioning within, usually refers back to what the market is saying. And it refers back to analysts. It refers back to how are the people that are eventually going to end up buying your software in B2B sales, if they're talking to analysts and they're speaking the language back to them, whatever that is, that's probably your category. And you need to position and be differentiated in that category to beat out the competition, because it's not impossible to take over somebody that was already either a first entrant to that category when you have a laser focus on differentiating within that category, because you can always do that.
Right. That makes sense. It's there's a focus component. Don't get distracted. Don't feel like you have to do something just because that's what you're you think is the right thing to do. There's plenty of greenfield even within the existing category. And it
Right.
almost gets back to what you described when we talk about marketing, of the guide concept of, really the hero is the customer. So listen to what the voice of the customer and what they need, and don't put yourself as a hero by just creating a category for the sake of creating a category. Well, Ryan, this has been really helpful. I really enjoyed learning a little bit more about how you view the role that product marketing can play and being that kind of hub between sales, marketing, and product. If our audience wants to engage with you further, how can they not only connect with you, but also with KeyFactor?
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn. It's just Ryan Yackel /Ryan Yackel. So go ahead and check me out there. My email is ryan.yackel@keyfactor.com. If you want to email me, happy to do that. Then just go to keyfactor.com if you want to see kind of how we have built out our content, even on the website. If there's any ideas that you think I missed, I'd love to hear them. Love to hear what you have to say. But then also, if you're ever in the need for rethinking your public key infrastructure, where are the people to go to?
Nice. All right, Ryan. Well, hey, thanks a lot for the time. I appreciate you sharing some time with our audience. Talk to you soon.
Yeah, man. Take care.